5 important rules that I've learned over 5 years of trading. These rules have consistently proven themselves in practice. This is what I wish I had known at the beginning of my journey and always stuck to. Unfortunately, sooner or later everyone will come to understand what I'm about to say. But this video is an opportunity for those who are just starting out in trading. And if you always keep this in mind, it will definitely help you in trading. So, the first rule, don't get impressed by your first profits, winning trades, windfall gains, or anything like that. Because profitable trades and windfall profits are just as bad emotionally as losses. Big losses and big profits bring about similar emotions that throw us off balance and lead us into a kind of moral confusion. For example, let's say you have $100 in your account, you've been trading, and now you have $199. You just want to make that last $1. Often this is exactly when traders end up losing even more than they've earned. That's just one example, right? You've been trading and trading, you've made a windfall profit, you've almost doubled your money. That doesn't happen often, but it does happen. And you're just one tiny dollar away, so you decide to go for it, thinking it's just a little bit more. What happens then? A wipeout. Or you keep trading and trading, you make 5% on a single trade, and you realize that in just 10 minutes you've earned 2 days worth of profit, and you start thinking, oh, the market's good, I should keep going and trade some more. And often, right at that moment, you end up wiping out again. So don't do that. Come up with a plan, make yourself a reasonable daily income plan. That's the profit level at which you stop trading. For example, 5% a day, 3% a day, something like that. And obviously it should be higher than your loss limit. That's it, ideally. Again, it all depends on your trading strategy. So guys, the rule is this: don't get impressed by your first profits, or really by any profitable trades at all. Excessive profits, just like excessive losses, are very dangerous. So be careful. Don't fall for it when your brain tries to trick you or get greedy, wanting to keep trading and make even more if you've already made a profit. I'm not even talking about losing trades. Losses can really throw you off, put you on tilt, and so on. But a double tilt is when you were deep in profit, lost that profit, and then lost part of your deposit as well. That's a double tilt. So be careful here. So the second point, don't be shy about adopting things from others that are useful to you. But don't try to completely copy the person you're learning from. This is a very important rule. Build your own path as a trader. You can watch, observe, and adopt useful things, but don't try to be a copy of someone else because that person most likely already has their own trading strategy in place. They know what they're doing, and in a situation where they make money, you might actually lose, yes. Especially since we are doing scalping, where every second counts and you can catch an impulse move. For example, we enter on a breakout, catch the impulse, it might happen in just 2 seconds, but you might think you need to hold the breakout longer, for instance. And in that case, you'll lose because that impulse will immediately reverse. But another trader you're watching will make a profit because he'll take that exact impulse and just close that market, that's it. And the reversal won't affect him anymore, but you'll get caught in it, it'll wipe you out, and at best you'll get stopped out. If you keep holding, that's what happens. And friends, I want to say that I wrote down these rules because I'm not including the super obvious stuff like set a stop loss and so on. Everyone's known that for a long time, right? So the second rule goes like this: don't be afraid to adopt something useful. You can pick up useful things even from beginners, from anyone at all. Anyone who makes videos, shares something, shows things, hosts podcasts, or does anything else, you can learn something from them. There are people who just come in to hate, who start hating on someone. And there are people who watch and think. Even from someone who seems at first glance like a bad person, you can still learn something. That's very important. Stick to this, and it directly applies to trading as well. Read books, watch videos, listen to podcasts, do whatever else. Look for what is useful to you and don't be afraid to adopt it for yourself. But don't copy anyone. That's very important because copying in trading directly leads to very bad outcomes. Most often it leads to losses. My trading strategy, even if I give it to you completely, if you just have slightly different qualities than I do, it won't work for you. And likewise, I wouldn't be able to trade using your trading strategy even if everything is described in detail. That's just how it is. Thirdly, in the end, everyone has the same result, their own trading strategy. No matter what you try, no matter how clever you get, no matter what signals you trade by, if you decide to become a trader, sooner or later you will inevitably come to your own trading strategy. Not necessarily to a specific one, but first and foremost to the realization that you need to build it, write it out, come up with it, yes, create it. And this is where your own trading will truly begin, your work, your path to earning money. When you have one trading strategy, then a second, then a third, you will eventually arrive at your own, fully develop it, and over time you will simply keep refining it. But when you start trading with it, yes, gaining experience and learning from your mistakes, you will just keep adding, tweaking, and improving it. But everything else, trading based on signals, guessing whether it will go up or down. If a coin has gone up a lot, try shorting it. If a coin has dropped a lot, try buying it. That's not trading. We need a trading strategy, written out, clear, with specific points explaining why we enter, why we exit, how long we hold, how far we let it run, and so on. Everything else isn't trading, it's just guessing. And I'll repeat it again. In the end, everyone needs their own trading system. All attempts to make money in different ways, that's just messing around, and we're not interested in that. So, if you're just starting out, as soon as you've mastered the trading platform and have a basic understanding of the chart, you should immediately start experimenting with trading strategies. Choose one for yourself, work on it, refine it, improve it, and trade strictly according to it. Everything else, signals, dramas, and so on, is irrelevant. This is a very important rule, and it's better to come to it now. If you don't have a trading strategy and you're doing the nonsense I mentioned earlier, then you should quickly go and do something about it because you can't get anywhere without it. Any trader will confirm this, as will people who have been seriously involved in trading for at least 6 months to a year. Not just what I mentioned earlier, but seriously involved. That's it. So keep that in mind. So the fourth point is, always keep a clear understanding of what you're doing in mind. What does that mean? It's about duration, yes, about our style of trading. Very often, scalpers end up becoming swing traders without even meaning to. Why is that? This especially happens a lot with beginners. Why does this happen? Because someone enters on a breakout, it doesn't work out, and then they start holding on, waiting and hoping for the price to come back. At that point, they've already become a swing trader. And in such a position, I know of many situations, and I've experienced this myself in the beginning, where I could sit in a single trade for a whole day, just because, well, it has to come back. It definitely will. There's no other way. That's it. But often it doesn't come back so much that even your deposit doesn't return afterward. You sit there and it seems like you could have closed at minus $5. In the end, you close at minus 205, for example. But you could have closed with a small loss and gone on to look for the next opportunity where you would most likely have made up for that loss and even earned more. That's it. Remember those thoughts when a trade is deep in the red and you think, well, at least if it gets to minus $50, I'll close it. Or, depending on your deposit, right? You hold on to a minus 10 thinking it'll come back, then you're holding minus 20 still thinking it'll come back. Then it drops so much that you think, God, if only it would come back to minus 20 so I could close it. That's it. That's why you need a clear understanding in your head of what you're doing. If you've decided to be a scalper, then sit and scalp. For us scalpers, a trade usually either works out or it doesn't. That's it. A lot is decided in the moment. That's it. But it's a different story if you entered from some zone, right, from a structure, and you're trying to hold on, you've set your stop losses and you're just waiting. That's a different approach. Here, on the contrary, you shouldn't close early. You need to hold on. That's it. And those are the kinds of scenarios you get. That's why it's important to have a clear understanding of what you're doing. Are you taking the impulse on the breakout, or are you holding that breakout, maybe closing part of the position like a third and letting the rest run while closing the rest? So that's how it is. Don't become a midterm trader without meaning to. Trying to catch an impulse, we end up just sitting and waiting. Don't do that. That's it. Now, let's move on to the next rule. The next rule, and it's the last one, says this: losses are actually a good thing. The main thing is that they're fixed. And over time, you'll see that these losses become more predictable. After a couple of years, you'll reach a point where you're trading in profit, and you realize that a loss is about to come. And you can even, knowing this in advance, play the situation by slightly reducing your position size. That's it. You realize that a couple of setups didn't work out, the market has locally changed its phase, breakouts aren't happening, for example, so we trade reversals, bounces, that's all. But this moment of understanding that your strategy won't work in the current market for the next few days gives you the opportunity to handle situations where your trading strategy isn't effective. For example, we're trading breakouts and realize that breakouts aren't working well. We notice this on low volume, and then, when the volume returns to normal, we trade reversals or bounces instead. That's how it is. And so, you start to get this feeling that a loss is just around the corner, and losses are actually a good thing. It sounds strange, but in our trading strategies, there will always be losses. We call these systematic losses. This is very important. If there aren't any, and I'll tell you more, when I see traders' journals in chats that are always in the green with no losses, I know that sooner or later something terrible will happen, because most often it's averaging down. That's it. Most often it's averaging down, and some people insist that this approach works. Well, maybe, I don't know, I don't support that. I only support averaging down that is planned in advance. That is, we know in advance where we will add to our position if necessary. But simply increasing a position, averaging down, just because the price is moving against us is not a good idea. You can do that if, for example, you have a deposit of $100,000 and you start entering with $500, then another 500, then 1,000, then 2, then 4. And in this way, knowing this and having such a trading strategy, it's normal. But I'm talking about the situation where we enter on a breakout, the price starts to pull back, we average down, and then a false breakout occurs. A false breakout indicates that there will most likely be a move in the opposite direction against us. But people still keep averaging down, hoping the price will come back. Sometimes it does come back. But there comes a moment when it doesn't come back enough and we end up losing our entire deposit. You shouldn't do that. So let me summarize once again. First, don't get impressed by positive results because those are bad emotions, just like negative ones. Profitable, super profitable results, they're also bad emotions. If you've taken your planned profit for the day, that's it. Stop trading. Your mind might not work right. It could be dangerous. Second, don't be shy about picking up things from other people. You can learn something from anyone. Yes, there's a lot of information out there now. You're lucky that you're getting into trading right now. You can gather information, you can collect it for free, and there's a lot of useful stuff. In short, there are people to learn from, and there's plenty to learn. Don't forget this. Don't be, excuse my language, hard-headed, when you just stick to your own opinion and can't accept what others are telling you. So try things out, analyze, consider whether what's being said is useful or not, what people are sharing, what they're doing, and so on. The outcome is the same for everyone. This is already the third summary rule. The outcome is the same. We all end up with our own trading strategy. There's really nothing more to say about it. That's it. We'll get there. We'll be trading according to a strategy. Otherwise, if we trade without a strategy, it'll just be an endless treadmill. Fourth, keep a clear understanding in your mind of what you're doing. As I said, yes, if we're scalping, then we need to scalp. If we're entering a medium-term position, then we hold the position. There's no other way. Don't become a medium-term trader just because your breakout didn't work out. Don't just sit there waiting for it. That's it. If it didn't work out, you close by stop loss, move on and look for the next opportunity. Don't become a medium-term trader without meaning to, or even worse, an investor, especially on futures. Sooner or later, the funding fee will eat up your endlessly hanging position. And fifth, losses are a good thing. That was the last point. I don't think we need to go back to it. Losses aren't just good. Losses will happen. They have to happen. There's no trading without them. Accept this. Understand. A trader isn't someone who's always in profit, but someone whose profits outweigh their losses. That's it, guys. That's the kind of video we ended up with. I hope this helps you. It's important to keep these points in mind, and your journey will become much shorter because sooner or later, everything I've talked about, you'll understand too. Well, maybe not everything, but 99% of people will get it. It's hard to disagree with that, so don't forget to subscribe to our free Telegram channel, to this YouTube channel, and I'll say goodbye to you until the next video. All the best. Bye.